Hi guys, welcome to our new Man United podcast called Never Ignored. I'm one of your hosts, Imti.
Hello everyone, I'm Aleem.
We're two Man United fans who have lots and lots of opinions about United and football in general. And we just want to get our thoughts out into the world. So today we're going to introduce ourselves a bit more. We're going to go for Ollie in or Ollie out, transfer windows, and also state of the squad.
Sounds superb to me. So I'll give an intro. Hi everyone.
Yeah, go on.
I'm Aleem, Manchester United fan since 2000, which is more or less when I started paying attention to football. Play a lot of amateur five-a-side football, and in particular in goal. So you probably hear me giving my opinions on Dave and Co quite often, and any opponents' goalkeepers. And I'm also quite interested actually in the mental side of the game, just because of my line of study aligns with my interests. So often I like to think exactly how the game's impacting a player and performance, etc. But in general, yeah, I really like goalkeepers.
Cool, sounds good. So I'm MT. I'm also a United fan. I'm going to pretend that I started supporting United before 1999 so that I can pretend I remembered the Champions League final.
Yeah, you didn't watch the 1999 final? Come
on. Six years old. That was the one of my first memories. Yeah, something
best
like that.
Night of my 6-year-old life.
Yeah, I think still to this day. I'm not as interested in the psychology. Happy to criticise players when I see fit, especially Pereira. Don't need to explain that one too much. But we'll get onto him in a bit.
Definitely.
That's our intro basically. This is the first time we've done anything like this, so it's probably going to be a bit choppy here and there. But yeah, bear with us. You might find it interesting. You can find us on all the social medias. We claimed as many as we could. So we're Never Ignored on Facebook, yep. Instagram. Twitter, we're Never Ignored Pod, because someone already had Never Ignored. And while we're on the topic of Never Ignored, United fans should know, probably most people do, there's a famous phrase that goes with United: hated, adored, never ignored. So that's where we've gone for our name from.
Yeah, we thought it was actually a very appropriate name, because everything that we've gone through in the last few years, obviously in the early 2000s to early 2010s, we were one of the best teams in the world. And obviously now the state isn't exactly the same, to say the least, but that doesn't change the fact that we're still never ignored. You still see us on hot topics on all the major sports outlets, and our movements in the windows and positions and managerials ins and outs and players is still always there, which is a good sign, because we're
we're so big that Liverpool went 22 points clear of the Premier League, and the headline stories that day was we're signing Bruno Fernandes. So. Yeah, says it all. Right. The first thing we're gonna go right for it. Ollie in or Ollie out?
It's a big one. It's definitely one of the big ones, and we're going straight for it. Imti, what do you think?
So I like Ollie. I think he's done a reasonable job with what he's got. It's hard because Pochettino's available. I think if Pochettino wasn't available, it's a completely different story then.
I see what you mean. So. What does that mean? Does that mean that if Pochettino was available tomorrow, would you?
Then I'm Ollie out.
Then you're Ollie out.
Yeah.
So, what about? Okay, let's say the more realistic scenario. Yeah. Ollie is out of the job in the summer, and Poch comes in. Happy?
Yeah, I think so.
What about you? Me personally, see, I'm a bit of a sucker for nostalgia, and I understand nostalgia doesn't mean current success.
Yep.
And one of the questions I've heard thrown around is, if Ole had never scored that goal, would he have even had the United job right now?
Well, as we've said, that's one of our best memories as 6-year-olds.
Yeah. But so at the moment, I do my best to try and remain Ole in, and at the same time, you won't see me campaigning for it exactly. But I am fond of trying to keep a manager in the job as long as possible. I'm not really massive on getting so many ins and outs with the managers. But at the same time, patience is something that it's not as long as it used to be. I always see as soon as we get a new manager in, whether that was Van Gaal or Van Gaal or Mourinho or Solskjaer, you always see that stat with Fergie, how long it took him to get things kicked off.
Yeah.
And I think, but the game was completely different back then. It wasn't as brutal. There wasn't so many options. There wasn't so many people that you could be replaced with.
Yeah.
Competition wasn't so high for jobs.
I think the money as well, the consequences of not being in Europe or something
so managers
wasn't as big of a deal back then.
Exactly. And managers had, the clubs had patience with the managers. I'm confident that if there was some kind of Fergie regen and he was, let's argue, David Moyes was a Fergie regen.
Yeah.
How long did he last in the job? Not long at all. So I can't imagine that if the whole situation with Fergie was to occur again in today's times, in today's settings, with today's media and today's constraints and pressures, I don't think he'd have lasted at all. So it's an interesting one, and for me, I'd like to see Ole remain, but I feel like as the season goes on, like I know it's become a bit of a meme, his optimism that you hear in his post-match interviews where he'll make a comment like, Man City played their strongest team, or how many teams score against Wolves, etc. And I guess it's almost as if those are the kind of comments I would make if the only football I ever watched was Manchester United. So, for example, in the games we played against Wolves, Wolves have looked incredibly strong at the back, but on the occasion I've watched Wolves play other teams, they score against them.
Yeah, that's true.
So, if I'd only ever seen United play football in my life, then I'd probably agree with what he was saying. But in the wider context of things, sometimes it makes me question exactly what the motivations are and the aspirations, and are we content with finishing 5th, 6th, or edging it into the Champions League to go on and then be knocked out the next season. So I'm not entirely sure what the purpose is, but at the moment I'm currently Ole in, but all it takes is for us to lose a game, and for the next 2 hours of my life I'm Ole out. So I'm quite fickle.
Yeah, for me, I mean, at the start of the season, I was trying to say we should embrace being 6th. So we were pretty miserable at the end of last season after it looked like we were going to get 4th, but we ended up finishing 6th.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying, if you look at our squad at the time, bar Pogba really at the time, basically bar Pogba, it was and De Gea, it was a pretty average squad.
Yep.
We made some good additions, and Rashford's form's improved a lot, but still, when you have those if you have those unrealistic expectations, you're always going to be disappointed. So I was thinking, embrace 6th place, have a good couple of cup runs. Maybe we might even challenge for the top 4, and you can have a reasonably fun season.
So was that your expectation for this season that
basically.
we're in at the moment?
So I would have been, but the way we've gone about, so we're 7th at the moment, and the way we've gone about being 7th, I feel like we are actually more like, it feels more like 17th rather than 7th, to be honest.
Yeah.
And if you look at, there's only a 10-point gap between 17th and 7th. And you look at the amount of games that 25 games we've played, 9 wins.
Mm-hmm.
So that means 16 of those games we've not won. 16.
That's like, it doesn't look
even over a full,
all.
Under some of our in our pomp, 16 games without not winning those games. That's unthinkable. That's 8 defeats, 8 draws. And to be honest, the defeats is one thing, but the draws is actually what seems to bug me the most, because some of them, like you said, the Wolves game.
Yep.
It's just, you just think, how can you we weren't even close to winning those games.
It's frustrating because let's take the Burnley game for example.
Yep.
We lose 2-0 to Burnley.
Yep.
They go draw with Arsenal. They probably should have beaten Arsenal. They should have beaten Arsenal.
Well,
actually.
That shows how far they've fallen as well. The media afterwards were saying they were lucky to escape with a point.
Very true. But it's like teams like Burnley who are they're 11th in the league. It's respectable for Burnley. Fair play to them. But at the same time, we shouldn't be losing 2-0 to Burnley. No,
and funny enough, we've won the same amount of games as Burnley.
Exactly. So
the only thing separating us and Burnley at the moment is we've drawn more games than them.
And now let's look at it squad to squad. This is going to sound like a ridiculous question. Does anyone from that Burnley squad even get onto our bench?
Maybe the bench. Maybe Chris Wood. Was his name Chris Wood, the striker?
I wouldn't be surprised if
Yeah,
you've got him instead of
we've
Igalo.
got Igalo at the moment, right? Wood's got a pretty decent goal scoring. Barnes as well. They've got pretty decent goal scoring records, right? So maybe as a reserve options, they might get on our bench. Yeah.
What do you make of? So now I'm thinking of comparing the managers.
Yeah.
Arguably, Sean Dyche is just as good as manager Solskjaer if you look at CVs. Solskjaer's won the Norwegian league.
Yeah.
Got relegated with Cardiff. That's it.
You can't fault Dyche for what he's done at Burnley on very limited budget as well.
Yeah, limited budget doesn't attract, like, his style of football is consistent to him.
Yep.
And it's gritty, and I don't know, by the sounds of it, they like to let the grass grow a bit at Turf Moor, and because they prefer playing slow football. Which okay, if that's their style, no problem.
I'm not sure if you see, for any of you on Twitter, you can look at Burnley's cover photo after Arteta's comment about the grass. It's quite amusing. And
so, arguably, if we're Manchester United and we should have one of the best managers in the world, because we are Manchester United, but then we've just said that Sean Dyche is almost that. What's the difference between Sean Dyche and Solskjaer in terms of, one's a club legend, and one's Sean Dyche and he's got his own style of football, but it's effective.
Yeah, I mean, other than counter-attacking against the big teams, I couldn't really tell you what a Solskjaer team looks like. Like you said, when we play these teams like Wolves and stuff, even at home, I don't know what we're going out there to do.
It's a big problem because this is another little theory that I'm coming up with in my head. The teams that so often United are playing on TV, usually every other game, more or less, whether that's a Saturday or Sunday, and it's almost as if the teams
turn up, especially for
when they know
United.
When they know they're on the TV. It's almost as if you get like Wolves and Burnley and these other teams that they put a bit more extra effort in, or they'll.
It happened under Moyes, especially. Suddenly, people thought, "All right, Fergie's not here anymore. Let's just go for it." And people were just scoring ridiculous goals against. They're just trying things they wouldn't have tried before, and it was all paying off, and it just added up to a perfect storm, which was. But yeah,
I'm confident that under that, I think it was the Van Gaal season. How many times did goalkeepers...
it's like goalkeepers would have ridiculous...
come and get man of the match performances at Old Trafford.
And every game it'd be so-and-so won their first game at Old Trafford since 1561 or something stupid, since before football's been invented.
I'm sure Tom Heaton was getting a man of the match every single time he played against us.
Lee Grant as well. That's probably how he got his entire move to United, was his performances for Stoke against us. So,
we're in a very difficult place at the moment with Ollie. And I admire his optimism at times. I admire that he tries to stay positive. I don't imagine that's the attitude he takes into the changing rooms.
Not.
Yeah, if he does, that's a massive concern. If he goes in and says to the guys, "Oh, it's okay, not many people score as well." And I'd love to obviously have that knowledge of what he actually says, but in the world that we're in at the moment, that's not possible.
We need an Amazon documentary.
Amazon, sign us up. We're having
we got official toilets. We got official toilet suppliers, official noodles. We'd
make some fantastic content.
We need some Prime Video in there.
So I'm still unsure on what his style is and what his philosophy almost is. And I know at least with like Van Gaal, it was evident it was possession and be as boring as possible. With Mourinho, he was defend well. We can win.
I think Mourinho got a lot of stick for the defensive stuff, but there was sometimes that's when we were 4-1 FC or whatever, when we started the season in his second season. He did play some good stuff, but I don't know, just
with Solskjaer when he first came in against Cardiff and he played that diamond, and Jesse Lingard was even scoring the goal. I thought
this was his last Premier League goal.
I thought to myself, this our style because I like it. It was fast. It was we were charging at goal, and it was amazing to see. And I thought this could be our style. But then, since this season anyway, he's reverted back to 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, which that's my preferred formation. But the personnel that he's picking at the moment.
Yeah, and obviously the limitations with the injuries and McTominay and Pogba out. So, but at the same time, injuries are something which every team has. For some reason, Liverpool don't. I'm not too sure what they're feeding them. Seems to put the same starting 11 out every single game. Bob, Matip. But yeah, as you know, so every squad has injuries, and they're supposed to be the squad.
Well, I think we had a conversation at the start of the season, and it was basically if someone in the first team like Pogba gets injured, that's it.
Yeah.
Where's we've got Fernandes now, but it's late.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of games where we needed someone at the start from the first 4 months, because Pogba, I don't even consider him as even played a game this season. Obviously, he's played a few, but it doesn't feel like he's even.
He had that game.
It feels like he's left already, basically.
Yeah, exactly that. So for me, I'm a big fan of Paul Pogba. I think he's an exceptional footballer. And if I'm talking about technical ability, I think he's an exceptional footballer. Mental side of the game, I don't know. Sometimes question his dedication, but then you'll end up seeing an Instagram post from him where he's talking about how much he loves Manchester United. So then I think, okay, that's good enough for me to decide that you do have the right dedication. I think, in terms of as an individual footballer, he's amazing. He's won the World Cup. He did very well at Juventus. He earned a move back to United. He warranted that fee at the time, I think. But then the argument is, if he's such a great footballer, why is he struggling so much in that midfield?
Yeah.
People will always be like, oh, look at Gerrard. He carried Liverpool whilst they weren't terrifically anything decent. I don't know. Counter argument to that is he did have Xabi Alonso and Mascherano in the midfield with him, which I can't say we've had anything similar with alongside Pogba.
And he didn't carry them to that much, to be fair.
Going into a FA Cup against West Ham, I think pretty much.
Since Pogba, if you look at trophies, all right, fine, he won the Champions League. Pogba won the Europa League, nowhere near the same, but he did something.
Yeah.
FA Cup, League Cup, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. There's something to say there.
But so, and he's one of those players that every season I want to get his name on my shirt because I just think he's quality. But then I'm always like, there's no point because he'll leave in January, because you never know if he's staying. You can never start off a season with Pogba and say he'll be in the squad, he'll be in the team in January, because you never know what mood he'll be in or what his mindset changes. But I think that he's a terrific footballer, and when I watch United, it feels like, you're right, it feels like he's moved on. It doesn't feel like we have him anymore, because the games that he has played for us, he hasn't stood out, to be honest. I think he had a decent game when he came back for us.
Against Watford, but it was too late by then.
When he came on, and but it was too late to change things, and then he ended up getting himself injured and having to get surgery. But I think for me, it feels like he's already moved on. It feels like in his head, he's already agreed that move to whether it be Madrid or Barca or Juve, wherever it is he wants to go. Which, to be fair, I think he deserves. I do think he deserves to be in a team that's competing for titles within their country and Champions Leagues.
That's fair.
So for me, it does feel like he's moved on, and it feels like our long-term midfield looks like it's going to be in the next season or so, Fred and McTominay
and Fernandes
Fernandes in that number 9 type position, 10 type position even. It's strange because when you think about it, when McTominay first came into the team, I think it was towards the end of Jose's tenure.
He was mainly Mourinho, I think.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that this guy needs to be starting a league.
He's improved a lot.
He has, and I really like the passion he brings, and you can tell he's got that kind of knows what it feels like to come through the ranks and all that kind of stuff, and he definitely deserves his place in the squad. But it's crazy to see how the club's attitude has changed to players in those positions where we're relying on these youthful talents, and sometimes it looks like we need that experience, but it's just not coming from anywhere at the moment. I think Paul Pogba looks like he's probably our most experienced midfielder, him and Matic.
It's pretty much if you take Matic out, he's pretty much our most experienced player at the moment.
And but I think he's had a torrid time with the spotlight he gets on him from the media, with all the stuff that it's just him. It looks to me like he's just being, how old is he? 26?
Yeah, I don't think that helps.
Yeah, I feel like he does get a spotlight on him like no other player has anyway, and I feel like that doesn't help it anyway because he's got so much on him. And I remember when he first signed, it was but how many goals has he scored? How many assists has he got? And all that kind of stuff. But you think he's playing in a position often in that holding midfield / centre midfield. His role isn't really to score or to create. It's more create the pass before the assist.
Yep.
I think that's more his position within the squad. But it does feel like he's moved on. And so what does Oli do in terms of midfield talents? We've got Fred at the moment and Matic. McTominay's out. We've got Pereira.
We'll get on to Pereira in a bit. I've got a lot to say about him. But
so we've just talked about his squad. Then what do you think of the recent window, even the summer windows? What do you think of the additions that we made?
Fernandes, I'm gonna be honest, I never heard of him until we were linked with him in the summer. Looks very good on YouTube, as most players do.
So I've heard of Fernandes, but this is purely because I used to play a lot of FIFA and FIFA has their weekly team that they put out that plays out in.
So that's the thing is I play a lot of Football Manager, and Fernandes he never came on my radar.
Fernandes had about 4 or 5 entries into that team of the week, which is very high for FIFA team of the week. So at that point, I thought he's definitely decent.
His record's good. He scored a lot of goals. He's got a lot of assists. That's what we need. He seemed pretty decent against Wolves as well. And the fee that has been reported, and even his wages. I mean, I take everything I read about wages with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
But supposedly he's on 70 grand a week, which for a United player is basically minimum wage.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. And one thing I really, really love about when they report transfer fees, etc., I love that add-ons don't ever seem to fall into what the transfer fee is. So what was the transfer fee?
So I had 47 million.
And what was
and then like some crazy stuff like 15 million if he wins the Ballon d'Or.
Or if you win the Premier League and stuff like
I get United's point, and they're like, if he wins the Ballon d'Or, we're happy to pay the...
yeah, fair enough.
Happy to pay the extra
negotiating
money.
from Ed.
So I think that seems to be their tactic. They did it with Martial. It seems to be every player. I wouldn't be surprised if Igalo's got a Ballon d'Or clause as well in this.
And then what do you think of our other signing?
Yeah, so Igalo, he scored goals in the Premier League. That's what we need, especially while Rashford's out. He wants to play for United.
Yeah.
I've heard Mark Bosnich saying that he could have the same impact as Cantona. Not sure about that.
Trusted source, Mark Bosnich.
Not sure what he's up to nowadays, but Cantona, Igalo.
So for
slightly
me,
different.
For me, with Igalo, like I keep seeing these quotes. I saw a quote just before on Twitter where Igalo said he got the call at 11 p.m. in Shanghai.
And he stayed up all night or something.
And he said he called up a translator immediately and sent the translator down to the Shanghai offices and told them that, United have come for me. I have to go. So it looks to me like he is very keen. Yeah,
and they got that classic photo of him as a kid wearing the United top. It all adds up nicely. So I've got no issue with that.
Yeah, completely agree. Slight counter argument to him being very keen to play for United. Most professionals would, I'm assuming. I don't imagine
especially if you're playing in China. I'd imagine, especially I think they've got some new tax laws coming in.
Exactly. I think most professionals at that stage of their career would snap off anyone's hand to play for United.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same kind of situation as I think he's similar age when he signed Michael Owen.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't have imagined Michael Owen ever coming to United, but if you get the offer at that stage, obviously we were a slightly different team then. It was Fergie, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But if you get an offer from United when you're in your 30s, there's not many players that would be turning that down, I'd have thought, I reckon.
So with Igalo, I'm quite, I can't say keen, but I'm interested to see how it goes. He could be the sort of striker we need.
We needed someone.
Yeah.
When you look at, even when Rashford was fit, when you look at our bench, obviously we've got Greenwood, but arguably Greenwood should be starting at the moment. If we don't break a team down in the first half an hour, we just had absolutely nothing on the bench to do anything. So I'd bet you a lot of these games that we're drawing, these 8 draws or 8-9 draws we've had in the league, I'd imagine a lot of them we failed to score in the first half hour, 40 minutes.
Yep.
Potentially the whole first half.
Yep.
And we probably, a lot of them we only scored after the opposition scored, which seems to be a thing nowadays.
I think so. If we look at our transfer window, and so we got Igalo in on the last hour of the window. Who are the options realistically? Because we needed somebody, like you said, we needed a striker. We knew that. Rashford's injured. Martial doesn't particularly do well in the striker position. So we needed someone, and King seemed to be like the other likely candidate. But even with him, it sounded like we were quoted a ridiculous fee, 50 million. For somebody, and it's a shame because he sounded like he was incredibly keen to link back up.
I heard they would have taken 30 in the end. Apparently we offered 25, they would have taken 30. But even 30, considering he's injured at the moment.
Yep.
And he has had good seasons with Bournemouth, but he's not in the best of form anyway, unless he's playing against United.
Yeah, so that would have been one pro having him can't score against us.
I mean, it's still 30 million. It's still, I know it's a different market now, but it's still more than we paid for Van Persie.
Yep.
So maybe... And maybe we do just need someone for the next 5 months
And then
So-
the other name was Cavani, but I can imagine he would have demanded quite an extortionate salary.
It'd be a high salary, if it's a loan, a high low fee.
But with the thing that I'm quite happy about United with the Cavani, for example, is it looks like we've definitely made a move away
From being held for ransom.
Yeah, and from signing these big names, just for the sake of signing a big name and hoping that does the job. Obviously, it looks like we've learnt from what happened with Sanchez and Falcao and Di Maria.
Well, Sanchez is coming back. I don't know if you've heard. So next year, Alexis Sanchez. I'm gonna around where we live, where I play where we play football. Sorry, people just refer to me as Sanchez because I wore his top for so long. I've retired the top now that he's left to.
Imtiaaz did unfortunately buy into the hype.
Yeah,
as we all did.
I hadn't bought a Man United top with someone's name on the back since Ferdinand in maybe 2009, something like that. It went very badly.
It could be worse. Last season, my two options were Romelu Lukaku and Marouane Fellaini.
Yeah, so Fellaini we lost halfway.
Yep, and Lukaku at the end. So it could be worse. I didn't exactly go down the club legend route with my selections.
So one of the other reasons why I went for Sanchez was I feel strange about getting players' names on my tops that are younger than me.
I see what you mean.
Like Pogba's my limit. Pogba's my same age, but yeah, there's some of the other players. I don't know. I think it just seems a bit of a strange one.
Yeah, I've got to that stage in life now where I'm watching Brandon Williams and McTominay.
Yeah, and I'm thinking,
and I'm like, come on, lad, you can do this. And then when I think about it, I'm like, this person's about 5 years.
Yeah, so when I see Greenwood and Williams and stuff, I think I finally begin to accept that it's never going to happen for me, and my dream of being a United player is well and truly over now, I think. But yeah.
So in terms of the summer window, we bought in Danny James, Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, I think everyone we brought in has been good.
I feel like I'm missing a name from that summer list.
Wan-Bissaka, Maguire. So I think you missed. Did you say Maguire?
No.
Yeah, so we got Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, James. That was it. That was the three.
Yeah, so you can clearly see there's a shift to let's try and get some British talent. The way United were always, were quite famous for having quite good British players within our squad. Let's go for players that aren't, okay, Maguire defeats the point, but aren't ridiculously overpriced. But, we've still got to consider we're Manchester United. If we want a particular player...
Yeah, there's like a 20 million tax.
Yeah, there's going to be a premium to it. Yeah. The same thing with this Ighalo thing. We wanted King or Cavani and any other name that was in there. An agent gets a whiff of us actually wanting that specific player, they're going to add a tax onto it. Ighalo, I'm pretty sure his agent was aware that we just needed somebody, and we weren't gonna say.
I heard he took a wage cut. Apparently, this is what I was reading today. He took a wage cut to join United. So that's nice.
I read that he was on 300k at Shanghai.
I didn't realise he was on that much. So it kind of makes sense that he's taking a wage cut then.
Yeah, so he was on 300 at Shanghai.
I would hope he's taking a wage cut then if that's what he was on at Shanghai.
From what I've read, he was on 300 at Shanghai and we are paying him 100. Yeah, which is still a very, very healthy salary for someone.
Yeah,
his age
I would probably take it.
Yeah, 100%.
Just saying. But yeah, transfers overall under Solskjaer has been good. I'm not really disappointed with anyone.
Yeah, I've got to say one thing which has impressed me about Solskjaer it's been his signings. I think he's sticking to his guns. He's they've clearly got some kind of strategy where they're not gonna be held ransom for these players that are big names, etc. So I'm quite glad that they've made the signings that they had. Of course, if we were to sign Messi, I'd be happy. But it's not realistic. It's not going to happen. So I'm very happy with the signings we have made. It's a step in the right direction. I'd say currently we're probably missing a winger.
I felt that way for a while. We need a winger who's actually a winger,
an out and out winger.
Yeah. Not someone who might be a striker, might be a winger.
Who was the last winger we had?
Memphis.
I feel like
Memphis probably.
Memphis or Nani.
Yeah.
Young, I know he was bought in as a winger, but then for me,
eventually he played fullback.
I feel like he was a fullback for so long. Same with Valencia.
But yeah, Memphis was probably the last one. Maybe I hate saying this guy's name, Di Maria.
Yeah.
But even then, he was playing more central midfield for Madrid by the time we unfortunately paid money for him. But I suppose the only positive out of signing Di Maria was we got that moment of knocking PSG out of the Champions League last year.
Genuinely, probably the season highlight of maybe the last few seasons, to be honest.
So, especially after what he did in the first leg, getting to knock him out, that was nice. Yeah, that's probably the only positive thing I can say about him.
And then, what do you think of Dan James as a winger?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's fine as a squad player. He's not ever going to be like he's not going to be like Giggs was.
Yeah.
I guess that's the obvious comparison with them both being Welsh, but he's not going to be Giggs.
I think the potential, possibly maybe in a few seasons, he could be a first team player. I think as of now, first of all, he wasn't signed to be a first team player.
Yeah.
That's quite clear. Second of all,
yeah, I mean, we don't pay under £50 million for first team players.
Yeah, if he was a first team player,
come on,
definitely would have paid about 90.
Regardless of where they come from,
yeah.
we've got standards to uphold. We've got to field the most expensive squad in history every single game. Otherwise, we're not Man United at the moment.
and I think he still needs to work on his quality of what he wants to do with the ball when he has it. I think off the ball, in terms of his attributes, he's incredibly fast. We know that. But I also think that he needs to improve his decision making on the ball, because for some of his speed, I think his general approach is let me knock it around this guy and run as fast as I can, which is great, but doesn't always work. And then I think because he's at such speed a lot of the time, his crossing isn't fantastic. I think the last few games in particular, he's had opportunities to nail a crossing, and it just hasn't been anything amazing or direct. So I think that those are the things he needs to work on. And I also think, I feel like just because at the start of the season you got a yellow card for diving, the referees have now decided any time he gets fouled, it's a dive.
Yeah, and I think that's quite harsh as well, because obviously, like we mentioned, he's very, very quick.
Yeah.
And he's quite skinny as well, so if you get a knocker and you're running at that speed.
Exactly that. You're running at that speed, you get knocked off balance, it's a foul. But the referees, I feel like they definitely have some kind of hit list of players which they feel are more inclined to.
Ashley Young used to have it. Every time Young would get knocked over. I think Arsenal had a few players as well that were just...
Drogba had it.
Yeah, Drogba had it. But Drogba, I think, considering, I think he earned it himself. He earned that, I think. But yeah, transfers overall, reasonably happy.
Yeah.
Transfers out, not so happy. But
with
another...
which ones in particular?
Lukaku mainly, but he, again, it's one of those things. If he doesn't want to stay, you got to get rid of him.
See, I'm quite happy because, I agree. With Lukaku, he's, from what we're hearing, he told the club February, March time that he was on his way out.
Which makes it crazy that they didn't replace him. But
it's insane. But for me, if a player signalled his intent to say, look, not interested anymore, I feel like, okay, you need to go, because it's not great for the rest of the changing room.
Yeah.
And also, what's the point keeping someone who doesn't want to play?
Definitely.
I think with the other outs, so like, Darmian, Valencia, Young, Rojo.
Even to be honest, even Darmian though, he went for such a tiny fee.
That's been our problem for a while.
It seems like if you're going to let people go for that kind of fee, you might as well just keep him.
I think the last time
Dallow's only just become fit now, but otherwise we've been having to rely on Young if Wan-Bissaka was injured or suspended, or Shaw was injured or suspended. Williams has come in now, but at the first start of the season, it was just Young again.
Yes.
Darmian would have done a better job than he did.
When was the last time we sold someone for substantial value? Was it Di Maria?
Lukaku, but even Lukaku, we just about made our money back. When you do all this like inflation calculations, blah blah blah, we've lost money on him still. Even Di Maria, we lost money.
It's crazy.
No other club does that. Liverpool got 20 million for Jordan Ibe, 20 million for Dominic Solanke.
Yeah,
Solanke is older than Rashford. People don't realise that he is older than Rashford, but I don't know. He's scored like nowhere near. Probably I don't know if he's even scored double figures in the Premier League total, not in one season. Total.
He was a hot talent for them at.
Yeah, and they managed to get a good fee for. That's one thing they've done very well actually, is sell even 140 million for Coutinho.
Yeah.
Well,
very good business.
Where did that come from?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's not talk about Liverpool too much because might get a bit upset.
So with the current state of the squad.
Yeah. So I think we're missing about. If you go through our first 11, I'll say De Gea mainly happy.
Yep, agree.
So we'll go for goalkeepers first. So De Gea mainly happy. Romero, you can't complain about Romero.
He's been incredible professional.
Yeah, number 2 keeper, he's incredible. Hearing he might be leaving, but if Henderson's willing to be a number 2, we can deal with that.
I don't think he'll be willing to be a number 2. I think with all this talk about Chelsea wanting to get rid of Kepa, he would be. If I was Chelsea, he'd be my number 1 target, not Pope.
But But then I'm hoping that they wouldn't be worth, because I'd imagine United would demand quite a big fee for him.
Yeah, because how much did Jordan Pickford go for?
Yeah, he's young, he's English. Yeah, he'd at least be more than Pickford. So you got to imagine that Chelsea. Well, I'm hoping Chelsea won't be willing to pay 70 million for another keeper after the Kepa fiasco.
Yeah, so Pickford went for 30 million.
Yeah.
Which for goalkeepers' value seems to have stayed back in the 2000s.
Except for Kepa.
Yeah, Kepa was the anomaly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think someone like Henderson.
So I think ideally you give Henderson. You give Sheffield look like they're going to stay up. You know, they're ahead of us in the league at the moment. So I would give him one more season at Sheffield, and then hopefully he'd be ready to replace.
It's all a question of if he is willing to stay another season at Sheffield.
Hopefully, because they're doing so well. I mean, they're sixth. They might get a European place. Hopefully, that's enough to let him stay for another year. But yeah, I think goalkeepers is not really an issue. I'm not too worried about goalkeepers. Defense, you look at right back. Wan-Bissaka, happy with that. Dalot as a backup, happy with that. Dalot's always done well, I think, when he's played.
Dalot's an interesting one because he often is subbed on and he's playing in that winger type.
Yeah, position. I think he's actually got potential to do a job on the wing every now and then, especially because he's a fullback, but he actually will stick to the wide areas.
It's almost like him and Wan-Bissaka are yin and yang.
Yeah.
And Wan-Bissaka is incredibly good at defending, and Dalot's really quite good on the ball for a fullback.
So I actually do think Wan-Bissaka gets unfair stick for his attacking, because I had him in fantasy a lot when he was at Palace, and he did used to get a fair amount of assists. I just do think that we lack the kind of we lack a clinical thing. Like, we're not very clinical in the box, so we don't make those kind of runs. We don't give him the option to. He runs out of options a lot, but it's because we're not giving him any options. I remember with Wan-Bissaka, I had him in my FPL as well last year, and he did get a ton of points. Yeah. Like he used to get bonus like every week for his tackling is the main thing, but and
it wasn't necessarily clean sheets because he was at Palace at the time. Yeah.
But yeah, what can you do? Left backs, I do like Shaw, but I'm not 100% sure about him anymore. I just think we discussed it a few times. He just struggles to stay fit.
I think his time's come. I think he's had the opportunities. How many years has it been? 4 or 5 years?
It's been a while because he signed under Van Gaal's first year. So it has been. When you say it like that, it's been a while.
Okay, fair enough. He had that horrible injury. It was unfortunate, and he looked pretty decent before that injury. And I feel like he got back up to that level anyway with maybe last season.
Yeah.
But maybe just standard of what I expect from a left back has dropped because Brandon Williams come in, and I thought to myself,
he's been amazing.
Yeah, I thought he's got that strong attacking intent. He's strong defensively as well. You can see he puts his body in the way, and he's up for it with any of the wingers. He's played against Adama Traore, I feel like 50 times this season already.
I think it's FA law that we have to play Wolves once a month. I think.
Yeah, we have to play Wolves once a month and Derby every single year in the cup.
something like that. Shaw is still young. If we could get someone like Chilwell in, I'd let him go. But unless we get someone like that, then I don't know who.
Chilwell's one of those left backs that I don't really like that much, and it's purely because he's just not fast, and I love having fast fullbacks. I know he's good with the ball, but it feels to me like he's a Leighton Baines region. I don't know why, he just reminds me so much of him in the way he looks and the way he plays as well, and he's got really good crossing.
I think that's fair, but Leighton Baines was a very good left back, I would probably take him. Centre backs, Maguire and Lindelof, pretty happy with that. I think Lindelof has been really good for the last 18 months, 2 years, but maybe there's probably better out there than him.
I think I wouldn't say get him out right now.
Yeah, I would still keep him.
I think he's decent. He can be sometimes a bit suspicious on the ball with his decision, and some of his back passes are a bit weird sometimes. And
back passes, it's okay if you're Liverpool. I don't know if you saw that. You're allowed to pass back to your keeper and pick it up. It's not a problem apparently.
And I think he's a decent option. I think we should get him on free kicks after.
Yeah, I mean that one you sent me, that Benfica one, that's unbelievable. Yes. Like we don't score many free kicks unless Matta's playing, so we might as well give him a go. Even if he only gets 1 out of 5 of those, then.
What do you think about our backups? So we've got Bailly, Jones, Twanzebe.
So I like Jones. I get slated a lot for that. I do like Jones, but I think he's got the same issue as Shaw. He's just never going to be fit enough to maintain a regular place. So and he's had plenty of chances. So potentially time to get rid of him.
So back in, I think, it might have been 2011 we signed him. And I remember him.
He is before that, you know.
It might even be. And I remember seeing him in. I think Fergie played him in midfield a couple of times.
Yeah, he used to in some big games. Yeah,
he was like this strong.
Even under Mourinho, he did. Mourinho he had a resurgence under Mourinho for a bit.
But again, I think he's had his time. He's never going to reach that level.
Yeah.
Bear in mind though, at the time that level was Vidic and Ferdinand.
Yeah.
So that level was a very high bar. And yeah, in reality, he didn't even, for me, get close to that bar. Chris Smalling, I think, got the closest I've seen
out
for a centre back.
Yeah.
That season he had under Van Gaal.
He's coming back as well.
Yeah, and he's having a terrific season in Roma.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because he's a self-proclaimed vegan or he's in Italy, but he's having a good season there. He's getting a lot of praise from the pundits. But again, it's a question of, is it the league? Is it the pressure of Manchester United?
Yeah.
Is it the strikers you're playing against week in, week out? Of course they differ. He only has to play Ronaldo once a year. I think that's probably the only game he suffers. But again, when he comes back, I would happily take him in and keep him in the squad. It just depends on he himself.
How old is he now? Do you know how old he is?
I imagine he's around.
He must be nearing 30, right?
But I would take him, and of course, personally, if I was him, I would probably stay at Roma because it looks like he'll get further longevity out of his career, and it seems like he's very well liked by the Roma fans.
Yeah. Bailly, I think injuries are going to be an issue with him again.
Bailly doesn't help himself. So with the problem with Bailly,
it's the same. Yeah, Jones is the same. The way they fly into their challenges, right? They just get themselves injured.
So over the course of this podcast, you're going to hear me referring to what I would do in real life. I'm obviously not a professional footballer, so I'm clear about that. But there's been times where I've had a knock. Yeah. If I've got a knock, I'm aware if I throw myself into my next challenge, I'm probably going to make that knock worse.
Yeah.
So you have to be a bit intelligent about how you're going to position yourself and how you're going to try and win this ball back. Bailly doesn't seem to have that peace of mind in his head. I've seen him at times come back from an injury in his first game. He's going in head first with his legs up in the air to win the ball. And
that was the thing about Vidic, was Vidic could do that and he would survive.
Because Vidic for some reason was made of bricks.
He was a machine. Yeah. He could do that and he'd be perfectly fine. But not everyone is Vidic.
That's the thing. And Bailly seems very fragile, and it's a shame because I really like him. I like the character he brings, and I like that last ditchness about him, and that that I'll do everything to try and win the ball.
Yep.
But the unfortunate side is by doing everything, he usually injures himself.
Yeah.
What do you think of Twanzebe?
I've not seen enough of him to make a decision yet, but he's obviously, they rate him highly. He had a good season at Villa last year on loan. So he's definitely someone for the future. Keep him.
I've got a couple of friends who support Villa, and they say last season he was incredible. Yeah. Him and Mings were the reason for why Villa they had such a good run to that second half of the season and got their promotion.
Yeah.
So he is quite highly rated. He's still obviously a youngster. His game against Arsenal, I think he made the back pass. He made the pass to Maguire, which ended up with Arsenal's goal.
Scored, yeah. But those things they happen.
But yeah, he's there to learn. And I don't know if I'm remembering correctly. I'm pretty sure he made his debut against Arsenal a season or two before we sent him on loan.
Not sure, to be honest.
I'm pretty sure he did, and he had a very good game. And that was, I think, his debut for us, or his first start for us anyway. Yeah. So he has got good potential. What do you think then about
midfield? So I think probably at the moment, if everyone was fit, you'd have McTominay, Pogba, Fernandes. As a 3.
So would you play Fernandes as the higher up from those?
Yeah, so you'd probably ask Pogba to be a little bit deeper than he.
Just because he's got the capability.
Yeah, he's got the long range passing. Yeah. He's a bit more physical.
It's a bit of a shame on Fred. I feel like I'm betraying Fred by agreeing to this.
Yeah.
Which is a strange thing because I never thought I'd say that about 6 weeks ago.
I don't know. He'd be maybe he would get in ahead of McTominay at the moment. I don't know. But equally, Matic has been pretty good recently as well. But I think Matic, Fred, and McTominay, they're definitely fighting for one place.
I think. I agree.
McTominay and Fred are probably just ahead of Matic at the moment. But he, even like the Man City game, we were getting absolutely smashed, and he came on at half time, and he calmed things down.
Some composure.
He did what he had to do.
So I think realistically, I probably don't see him at the club post summer.
Yeah, I mean they've not offered him a new deal as far as I'm aware. I would probably give him another year.
Yeah,
but
so it sounds like it will be McTominay and Fred competing for that position. But then again, we're making the assumption Pogba's not there. He probably also isn't going to be there. So it looks like it will be McTominay.
So
Fred.
I do think if Pogba goes, we do need another player. I think if we started next season, McTominay and Fred as a duo with Fernandes a bit further forward, I would probably be a bit disappointed.
Yeah,
I think we do need one. I like Ndidi at Leicester. I think he's a good player.
Yeah, very decent.
Shields the back four well.
So you hear these names often, Ndidi, Declan Rice.
Yeah, Rice. I'm not fully convinced yet. I've seen good stuff. I've seen some poor stuff.
Yeah,
I think at the moment, if I had to choose between the two, Ndidi would be higher on my list than Rice. But you never know.
Let's move to the midfielders that don't necessarily get into the first 11.
I guess there's Pereira, who we've mentioned a few times. I don't really know what his position is. I don't think he knows what his position is. I don't think Ollie knows what his position is.
I think Pereira thinks his position is Manchester United player.
Yeah, that's it. It just seems like anytime Ollie's got a gap in the starting 11, it's like, all right, Pereira, he's going in there. Someone's injured, Pereira. De Gea is injured, just throw Pereira in. I just... I was messaging you the other weekend. I got really excited because I thought Pereira wasn't playing.
Yeah.
And then I realised how wrong I was and he was still starting.
Imti sent me a message and he said, Pereira's not in the squad. And we rejoiced. And then he said, oh, crap, he's in the first 11.
He's starting, yeah. And, he had a few reasonable moments last season after Ollie took over. But his form this year has just been atrocious. And he's still starting. Not even just getting on the bench. He's starting. Mata this year when he's played has been good, but Mata seems to be in and out of the team every other game. But Pereira, every game he's starting.
The thing is, so I've had this conversation in the past where with Pereira you question, is he a good footballer? Number one,
yeah.
Does he have the mentality? Now he recently came out with that interview where he said he would kill to play for Manchester United.
Yeah.
Now, in life, if you're willing to kill something, that to me says you're very committed.
Pretty keen, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it sounds like he's the mentality side of things. He's very keen.
Yeah.
He wants to be there. He wants to be a Manchester United player, which is credit to him. So then that brings me down to the first thing I mentioned, which is technical ability.
Yeah.
And to me, it just sounds like he doesn't have the technical ability. I know he scored a couple of decent free kicks for us, and he scored a good goal against Southampton last year. I think in pre-season he scored a free kick once. He
scored a free kick against Liverpool, I think, in a pre-season friendly. Yeah. That's his claim to fame.
And he had a decent season on loan. I can't remember what club he was at. He was at
Granada or something, Granada or something like that. And then he went back to Spain at Valencia and did absolutely terrible.
And so I just think Premier League. He's not a Premier League player. I think
I agree with you on that. I can't.
I think he's a good substitute option. And to be honest, even using the word good, I feel like I'm being generous.
If we were chasing a game and someone said your only option is throwing on Pereira, I think I'd leave whoever's on the pitch.
I think in terms of position, he's definitely not a central midfielder for me. He's potentially a cam, but even that is not a great one.
Yep.
And I think his strongest position is right mid, and that's the only reason I say that is because I think
he's got a reasonable cross on him.
I think his strongest attribute is he can cross the ball. I don't think he can cross the ball amazingly.
But the problem is he can't get into the position to cross it most of the time because he can't take anyone on. He can't keep hold of the ball.
If we could bring him on for every
set piece.
Yeah, I was going to say corner, but then I thought we don't score corners for some reason, so not corners. If we could bring him on for every set piece on the right-hand side of the pitch, I would bring him in. What about Jesse Lingard?
I would still keep him as a squad player. He would be on the bench. That's all I have to say.
I like him. I think he's
gone through a rough patch, but
I think his personal life decisions with how he portrays himself is up to him. Don't really care.
Personally, I'm never. I really don't care what they do outside of football as long as the results on the pitch are.
I think he's slowly picking up some form. I think he had a really good performance against. I think it was Astana in Europa League when we put a really young team, and he was
good against Tranmere as well.
Yeah,
but sadly we don't play Astana and Tranmere
unfortunately
every week.
But I liked how he kind of took that game as his opportunity to show the youngsters, we can do this in a way where it was kind of like inspiration for them that, you can make it at United, you can at the age of, 27, 26, still be playing here and, be playing regularly. And you could tell he had that attitude that, this is the game where I'm going to do something. Because if I don't do something in this game, really am not a great footballer. But yeah, he really did something. What do you think then of, we've already spoken about Daniel James. What do you think about Fernandes, the new man? in that midfield?
Too early to tell at the moment.
Yeah.
It seems some positive signs against Wolves, and
So against Wolves, he had the highest number of shots. I think it was 5.
Which we need, because at the moment, if we get 5 shots in a game, that's like a...
we're doing something right.
Yeah.
And I think he unfairly he had that one shot from the outside the box, and I think I remember Match of the Day and one of the other podcasts I was listening to, they said, he probably should have scored, but I think
it's early days. It's his first game is at Old Trafford, you know.
Plus, I think outside the box first time, you know, he's done quite well to get it on target, but then maybe it's just the standard that he has. You know, one goal in every 2 games, more or less.
Yeah, it's a good record.
It's an incredible record, and you know, I think it's better than it's a very similar record to Frank Lampard, and he was, as soon as he got the ball anywhere near the edge of the box, you were expecting a decent shot on target or some kind of goal. What do you think about Angel Gomez? He also falls that midfield.
I don't think we know enough about him yet. Him and Chong, I think they look very good in the reserves. Chong especially. Yeah. But I mean, it doesn't look like they're going to be our United players for too much longer anyway.
Chong does look outstanding in reserve games.
Like when I say like outstanding, like he looks ridiculous. Like it looks like he just makes football look so easy in the reserves. And I know it is the reserves, but the stuff he's doing there is just honestly, the way he moves with the ball, it just reminds me of Messi. No,
he does have that kind of the ball stuck to his foot type of vibe to him. What do you think?
But I don't know whether he'll make it. At United, at least, it seems like they've given up on him already.
From the opportunities that he's had, it doesn't look like. I think it's unlikely.
I would give him another contract, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So
maybe from the mental side of things, you know, the pressure's high. The quality of opponents obviously significantly better when he's starting when he's playing in the first team. I think he needs time. Personally, if I was him, I'd probably go out on loan, rack up some first team minutes in a competitive league. So it wouldn't have to be in England. Would be ideal if it was in England, but I doubt anyone in England would take him. So I'd move out on loan, and then I'd have an intention of staking a claim into our United squad, because we are crying out for a winger.
Yeah, despite the positions there.
And it looks like we're not offering him a contract at the moment, and people
I think he's just not willing to sign it by the sounds of things.
People, I think, linking him with, is it Inter and Juve?
Well, Juve are linked with anyone whose contract is expiring, right?
And Inter are linked with anyone who's played in the Premier League.
So those two are not surprising. We'll have to see whether anything actually comes of it.
Let's move to that front line.
So we'll keep it simple. Rashford, happy. No complaints with Rashford.
Yeah, Rashford, very happy with. And to start the
Igalo,
season,
best player in the world. I'm very happy that he's joined.
What do you think of
I think
Tony?
That's just where the sadness. I think he peaked in his first game.
I think Imtiaaz hit the nail on the head for me. He described him as a luxury player.
Yeah.
And I was watching him against Wolves with that comment in my mind, and he kept doing all these dragbacks and, you know, all this fantastic looking stuff, but ultimately leads to nothing.
Yeah, so what I meant by luxury player was, like, if he was in, let's say, Man City squad, or if he was in Liverpool squad, if he was replaced Firmino, for example, he'd probably score 30 goals a season.
Yep.
If he was in City squad playing instead of Mahrez or someone, he'd probably get a lot of assists, he'd probably score a lot of goals. But he's just not going to do that for a club that, if he was in our old squads, if he was playing with Rooney and Tevez to do all the hard work for him, he'd be a very good player. But he needs to do the hard work, and he's not doing it.
I think you're right. I think if we had a very good team and then we had him in there, then I think we could get some goals from him, quite a lot of goals out of him. But I think in the current state of the team, where we need these really hard working, you know, busting the gut to get back and support the midfield and defence, I think it's going to be difficult.
So I do think we need maybe another centre back. We definitely need another central midfielder if Pogba goes. We definitely need a winger, and we need a striker as well, because I think Rashford's best position now is wide left. We need a number 9, a classic, and a classic kind of striker. Who those options are, I'm not sure. I quite like. This is going to sound a bit out there. Mitrovic at Fulham.
That's an unorthodox choice.
Yeah. He might not necessarily be the first your starting player, but he's different. He's physical. He's got a good finish on him, and he's good. His goal record is actually pretty good. Even in the Premier League for Fulham last year, I think he scored like 10 goals in 17 games or something, which at a team that was like bottom of the league basically, is a pretty good record. So he's I think he's an option.
He's definitely a different type of forward, isn't he? Very physical.
I mean,
and strong.
the goal, I guess, is that Greenwood becomes the because his finishing looks like he could be a goal scorer.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe another winger and give Greenwood a go. Is it too early for him? I don't know. But he's got the potential.
I agree. I think his shooting technique is outstanding. He's very 2-footed. He seems to be able to cope with the pressure of being in the limelight. He's got his record's good for his age and the appearances he's made for us. It looks like he's got the correct attitude, and for me, I could see him long term being our main striker or one of our main forwards.
Yeah, that's certainly how it worked out on my Football Manager season.
Yeah,
better than I could have ever expected, actually. So that's good. We've pretty much covered all of the squad now, I think. Is there anyone we've missed?
No one that I can think of.
No one major.
That would be
if we haven't covered you, you're not good enough for United. I know you're probably not listening to this, but
if you are listening to this, hello, quite nice for you to listen.
If you are listening to this, actually, you're really good, and we want you to carry on listening.
Score a hat-trick on the weekend.
Well, we've got winter break now, isn't it? So it's going to be a while before we see United play again. Let's finish off with upcoming fixtures. So we've got 4 more games in February. Chelsea away, Club Brugge away, Watford at home, Club Brugge at home, sorry. Thoughts?
For me, the Chelsea game, we've beaten them already this season.
We've beaten them twice at Stamford Bridge, right, under Solskjaer.
Yeah.
Last season and this season.
So
both cup games.
I wouldn't feel too disconfident with that. I think that with the way they're performing at the moment, it doesn't look like they're scoring many goals.
So they've got 13 points out of the last 15 games.
So it seems we have the perfect formula for a fantastic 0-0.
Yeah. They're playing rubbish. We're playing rubbish. What's that? Immovable object, unstoppable force. But it's the exact opposite.
Club Brugge, I can't see why we shouldn't beat them over the 2 legs. I don't feel like they'll even. Yeah, I don't think they have the quality to beat us. And
my only worry is I can see, because we're away first, I can see something. I can just see us not scoring in the first leg, and then
I can see
frantically scrambling for a goal in the second.
In the first leg, Solskjaer plays Pereira 11 times.
Watford at home.
Watford at home.
They're playing well at the moment.
Put Troy Deeney in my fantasy team and captain him because he will score a penalty.
He's going to get a penalty here
at some point, and then he'll score and run to the fans and give them that "you want some" face that he does. But yeah, I think they'll probably score. I still can't see why we shouldn't beat them. Are we home or away for that game?
It's home, Old Trafford. So
yeah, I think we should win. I also thought we should win against Burnley.
Yeah. I also thought we should win against Watford away.
Yeah. So this season in general, for me it has to be 6 points from that Chelsea and Watford game.
Yeah,
I'd take 4. Preferably take 4 from drawing to Chelsea and beating Watford rather than vice versa. Probably is how it's going to turn out.
I can just see it being beating Chelsea and drawing to Watford.
Yep.
But 4 points I'd take. 6 points we should be going for the 6th, though, especially with Chelsea's current form.
Yeah.
And Bruges home and away we should be beating them.
Agree.
But that was our first attempt at a podcast. We might have rambled a bit, but I think we covered a lot of good stuff. You can see we are very interested in United and how it goes. If you do listen to this, like I said earlier, we're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Never Ignored on Instagram, Never Ignored Pod on Twitter, and Never Ignored on Facebook. Yeah, drop us a like, follow, comment. What do they always say on podcasts? Review us on iTunes.
Yeah, leave us a 5-star review from this scintillating approximate hour of
we've
coverage.
Actually gone on for longer than we planned. I was supposed to drop Aleem off about half an hour ago, so we're way behind schedule. But it was good fun. So we will see you next time.
Good stuff.